Hey 7th grade, this next video we're going to continue talking about inequalities word problems. They're going to get a little bit more challenging, but we're still going to set them up the same way. So looking at number 1 here, it says Jolene is a sales associate in a clothing store. Each week she earns $250 plus a commission equal to 3% of her sales. This week her goal is to earn no less than $460, and we're supposed to find the amount of sales she must have to reach her goal. One thing I want to talk about before we begin this problem is that term commission right there, because for some of you that might be a new vocabulary word. What commission means is it's a percent of whatever you sell goes towards your paycheck. Okay, so if you're paid by commission, it means your paycheck is determined by how many dollars worth of things you sell. So for instance, a lot of times when you go and buy a car, the person selling you the car is going to be paid money based on how expensive of a car they sell you. Okay, so a lot of times you have to be careful when you're buying things from people paid on commission, because a lot of times they'll try to sell you something because the more they sell you, the more money they make. So Jolene here, she gets $250 no matter what, is what this problem says, but she also gets 3% of whatever she sells. Okay, that dollar amount goes towards her paycheck. So that's what that term commission means. Okay, so our let statement for this one, we need to find the amount of sales, that means a dollar amount, okay, that she needs to reach her goal. So we're going to let X be equal to the the dollar amount of sales. Okay, for our inequality, we know that her goal, okay, Jolene's goal is no less than $460. Okay, so $460 is her goal, and she wants her actual paycheck to be no less than $460. So that means it needs to be greater than or equal to $460. No less than means greater than or equal to $460. We know she earns $250 automatically. So no matter what, she's going to get $250. But adding to that, she's going to get 3% of her sales. Okay, so 3% of her sales means we're going to take 0.03, which is 3% as a decimal. So 0.03 times her amount of sales, so times X. So our inequality is 250 plus 0.03X greater than or equal to 460, and now we're going to solve this for X. So we'll subtract 250 from both sides. That gives us 0.03x is greater than or equal to 210. And then next we'll divide both sides by 0.03. And so we get x is greater than or equal to 7,000. Okay, so we know that Jolene must sell at least $7,000 to reach her goal. Okay, at least $7,000 to reach her goal, and that will give her the paycheck of at least $460. Okay, looking at number 2. This one says your quiz grades in science are 78, 72, 87, and 90. What score on the 5th quiz will make your average quiz grade at least 82? So our let statement for this one, we're trying to find the score on your 5th quiz. So we'll say that for our let statement. Let X equal score on 5th quiz. To do this problem, you have to know how you find an average. Okay, to find an average, you take the sum of all of the parts divided by the number of parts. Okay, so let's set up our inequality for this one. Our goal is again an 82. Okay, that's the goal for your average. So your goal is 82. That's going to go by itself on the right side. You want your average to be at least 82. So you want it to be greater than or equal to 82 is what at least means. And to find the average, we know we need to do the following. We need to take the sum of all of our quiz scores so far. So we have 78, plus 72 plus 87 plus 90. Okay, that's the sum of our first 4 quizzes. We need to add to that our 5th quiz, which is an x. So that's our 5th quiz right over here. And we need to divide that sum by the number of quizzes, which after our 5th quiz will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the sum of all of the quizzes, again the last one is unknown right now, x, divided by the number of quizzes, which is 5, must be greater than or equal to 82. So now to solve this inequality, I can first of all, I can simplify up at the top. I can do 78 plus 72 plus 87 plus 90, figure out what that sum is. And when I do that, I get 327. Okay, so all these numbers up here added together is a total of 327. So this becomes x plus 327 all over 5 is greater than or equal to 82. I can then multiply both sides by 5 to cancel out my 5. So that gives me x plus 327 is greater than or equal to 82 times 5 is 410. And now, finally, I can subtract 327 from both sides to solve for x. So that tells me x needs to be greater than or equal to 410 minus 327, which is 83. So you know that your 5th quiz score must be at least 83. Okay, moving on to example 3. This one says the sophomore class is planning a picnic. The cost of a permit to use a city park is $250. To pay for the permit, there is a fee of 75 cents for each sophomore and $1.25 for each guest who is not a sophomore. 200 sophomores plan to attend, and so the question's asking how many guests must attend in order for the sophomores to be able to pay for the permit. So this is a multi-step inequality. Again, we start with the let statement. We try to figure out what is the question asking us to find. The question's asking us to find the number of guests. How many guests? So that's where I'll start with my let statement. Let x equal number of guests. Okay, let's start with the total. We know that the total amount of money that we need in order to use this park would be the cost of our permit, which is $250. So that's our total right there. To pay for the permit, we need to have $250 worth of people attend. Okay, so we need to have at least $250. So that needs to be greater than or equal to $250. That's what we need to have attending. Okay. We know that sophomores cost a little bit less than guests. Okay, guests cost $1.25 each, and there's X guests going. So we know that part of how we're paying is going to be $1.25 times X, $1.25 per the number of guests right here. But we also know that we have sophomores going, and they only cost 75 cents a piece. So plus 0.75. And we actually know the number of sophomores going. We know that there are 200 sophomores going right here from this sentence. So because we know that 200 sophomores are going, we can actually take the 0.75 times 200. And that tells us the total amount from the sophomores that are going. So this is our inequality here. Again, follow along with me. It's $1.25 per guests. We don't know how many guests are going, so that's why we're using an X. Plus, it's 75 cents per sophomore. We know there are 200 going, so 0.75 times 200. And this total amount of money that's collected from both sophomores and guests has to be greater than or equal to our $250. So that's how I set up my inequality. Now I'm going to go ahead and start solving and doing some simplifying. So I know that 0.75 times 200 using my calculator is going to be 150. So I have 1.25x plus 150 is greater than or equal to 250. I can now subtract that 150 from both sides. And that gives me 1.25x is greater than or equal to 100. And now I just need to divide both sides by 1.25. So that tells me that x is greater than or equal to 100 divided by 1.25, which comes out to be 80. So I know that they need at least 80 guests to attend. At least 80 guests must attend. Okay, last problem, example 4. For this problem, we're going to look at two different payment methods. Okay, so we saw problems similar to this in Unit 2. We're renting a car here. So you rent a car and are offered two different payment options. Option A requires you to pay $25 per day plus 15 cents per mile. Option B requires you to pay $10 a day plus 40 cents per mile. And we want to know for what amount of daily miles will option A be the cheaper plan. Okay, so the question's asking us to find, again, you have to read the question carefully, for what amount of daily miles. So let x equal number of miles. Okay, for option A, we'll go ahead and put that on the left side here. And then we'll put option B on the right. And we want to know when option A is cheaper. So when is option A less than option B? Okay, so option A, we know it costs $25 each day, and we're only doing this for one day, so 25, plus 15 cents per mile, so that's going to be plus 0.15 times x. X is the number of miles. So that's the cost for option A. Option B, it costs $10 each day, so it's $10 flat rate for a day, plus 40 cents per mile would be 0.40x. So there's our inequality. We want to know when option A is less than option B. Now I'm just going to solve this inequality for x. The first thing I can do is subtract 0.4x from both sides. I can get the variable on one side. So that gives me 25 minus 0.25x is less than 10. Then I can subtract the 25 from both sides. And that gives me, don't forget your negative sign, negative 0.25x is less than negative 15. And then finally I can divide both sides by my negative 0.25. Okay, divide by negative 0.25. When you're dividing both sides of an inequality by a negative, don't forget to flip your sign. So we must flip to a greater than now. Negative 15 divided by negative 0.25 comes out to be 60. So we can say that option A is cheaper for more than, x must be greater than, so more than 60 miles. Okay, questions over this, please be sure to jot those down and then ask those in class the next time I see you, and we'll practice some multi-step inequalities in class the next time. Until then, have a nice day. You are all wonderful people. Take care.